I'm Rabbi Jake Karzan.
And I'm Rabbanit Ruby Ray Karzan.
And Tape with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're gonna watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. We are here at Waldheim Cemetery, and I'm here with Irwin Lapping. We are back once again. He is the Executive Vice President. Today we are going to go and take a look at some famous people's burial places in Waldheim Cemetery. How many graves are there in Waldheim approximately?
175,000 graves.
175,000. And there are a lot of famous people that we're going to look at and not even touch on the amount of them that are there. Who would you say is the most, of all the people buried in Waldheim, the most worldwide, Chicago-wide, acknowledged a person that people know is buried in Waldheim?
I hate to answer that because we look at all these people here as members of the Jewish community.
Sure.
They all have led wonderful lives, are renowned in their own fields. They're doctors, they're scholars, they're authors, they're rabbis. One of the prominent one is the Lester Crown's family. Lester Crown is probably one of the most prominent civic and business individuals today, and his grandparents are buried here, Ari and Ida Crown, whose name people are familiar with, to answer your question.
And that would be great if when we go out, if you will talk to us about them, that would be great. You'll do that with us, yes?
And they have a very prominent obelisk. It's one of the tallest in Waldheim, so it really stands out.
Very good. We'll do that. We're going to see a whole bunch of places. Dave Penzell is going to join us as well, and Dave is going to tell us about a number of places as well as Irwin. So stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug as we visit the real Waldheim Cemetery. We are now approaching the Crown Family Monument.
Oh, no, I know, but...
We've got Ari Crown, Ida Crown, and Sal Crown. Jacob Crown. Florence Crown. Irwin, tell us a little bit about the crowns and the Crown Monument here.
Well, this monument is one of our most distinctive monuments in Waldheim. And when Rabbi Doug asked me to pick out monuments and graves to maybe talk about, well, Waldheim represents the Jewish community. So we have over 175,000 monuments and people that we could talk about. We have hundreds of scholars, doctors, rabbis, illustrious people, and in fairness to them, I wish I had the time to pick them all out. The Crown family is very distinctive because of the very tall obelisk, one of the tallest in Waldheim.
It's not the tallest?
It comes close to it.
Close to it.
It may be, there's one or two other ones that are almost as tall, but this is probably amongst the tallest ones in Waldheim. And the Crown family is very distinctive because when somebody asked Rabbi Durbin, who is the senator, not rabbi, but Senator Durbin, who is the majority, the Democratic whip, who he would pick out as one of the most illustrious people in Chicago, without hesitation, he said for civic and business purposes, he would name Lester Crown. And the Crown family has been very philanthropic, and the Jewish community is very proud of the family. On this particular lot, Ari Crown and Ida Crown are buried, and they are the grandparents of
Lester.
Lester Crown, and they started out as immigrants, and their son Henry Crown started a business from scratch, eventually became known as Material Service, one of the most prosperous and successful businesses in the Chicago area, selling primarily sand and gravel for all the monumental projects that took place in Chicago. They furnished the basic raw materials for the Civic Opera House and other noteworthy buildings. And they primarily were mining material services. So we're very proud of the Crown family, and this is a picture of their family lot.
Now I see here that Eric Crown died in 1937. Ida Crown died in 1956. Here Sal is 1921, and 1914 is Jacob, and Florence was 1926. So the earliest is 1914. When Jacob, I know that you didn't certainly sell them this lot, but when Jacob was buried here, who was the first of this group, did they buy this whole area here for the family at that time and put the monument up, or did that come later?
I believe that they did. The Crown family also endowed, and the Harry Crown Theater, that's part of the McCormick Place, is one of the largest theaters in Chicago, sitting over 5,000 people. Many shows and events have taken place, and it's also...
the Eric Crown Hebrew Day School is endowed by them, the Ida Crown Jewish Academy.
Correct.
Right, and Robert Crown Skating Rink, also endowed by the family.
Family is very prominent and very illustrious.
Very nice. This is wonderful.
All right.
All right, we will move on and stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Don't go away. Taped with Rabbi Doug. We'll be right back.
Once they've outgrown their toddler seat, they're still not ready for adult safety belts alone. 4'9" is the magic number. Until then, kids need a booster seat. Make sure your little pumpkin gets there safely. Visit boosterseat.gov.
I'm YJ Draymond. I'm candidate for mayor of Los Angeles for the March election of 2013. And you're watching Tape with Rabbi Doug.
I'm here now with Irwin laughing at the Balaban family mausoleum structure. Tell me a little bit about this. Who were the Balabans, and how did this all come about?
We have many private mausoleums in Waldheim. The most outstanding example of one is the Balaban Mausoleum, which is a primary example of an authentic Egyptian architecture. We get buses from the Art Institute of Chicago coming out here to show them an example of Egyptian art. The Balaban family started their first theater on Kedzie Avenue in Chicago, and very soon after that, their first larger theater was the Central Park Theater on Roosevelt Road. It was the first movie theater to contain a balcony.
So that was Roosevelt and Central Park on the west side?
Yes, right. And then soon they were very innovative because people found the theaters too hot to go to in the summertime, and yet they wanted a year-round business. The mother thought it was a fabulous business because people paid their money before they even got their merchandise, before they even saw anything. So they were the first theater company to air condition their theater. What they did was they had huge blocks of ice up on the balcony, and they would use fans to blow the air into the theater. So they soon had a year-round successful business, and then they built many beautiful movie palaces. When I use the word movie, and I say palaces, I really mean that. They were outstanding works, extremely luxurious, extremely ornate, They really were, each one was an individual museum. People who lived in Chicago at that time will remember the Marlboro Theater on the west side, the Paradise Theater on the west side. The last remaining theater is probably the Chicago Theater downtown.
On State Street.
On State Street, they're State and Lake. They were friends of the Katz family, and one of the Balaban brothers married a Katz, and there's a Katz grave behind this mausoleum. And so they formed a partnership of Balaban and Katz, and were extremely successful movie entrepreneurs. In order to sustain their theaters, it was essential they had movies. And one of the brothers, Barney Balaban, went to Hollywood and soon became president of Paramount Pictures. And
Is Barney buried here?
Barney is entombed in the mausoleum. The movies were an outstanding example of the American way of life, the American culture that was disseminated across the entire world. And people learned how America lived by watching American movies. The Balaban family is probably one of the most famous and illustrious movie families. And this mausoleum is certainly a proud
Family monument.
symbol and monument of the Balaban family.
Beautiful. This is great. This is the Balaban family mausoleum in Waldheim. Go. Right here, right on the heart of Waldheim, right here on Des Plaines Avenue, for everyone to see when they go by.
Achievements of the modern age. We've come so far. I have a dream.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And we have so far to go.
I'm Rabbi Doug, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Here we are back at another part of Walheim Cemetery, and you may know this name. Where's the beef? Clara Peller, senior actress who made herself famous in commercials. And we are here with Dave Penzell right now, who's the executive director of Walheim Cemeteries, which include, of course, Menorah Gardens and Zion Gardens, formerly Rosemont Park Cemetery. And Dave is going to tell us all about Clara Peller. Dave, tell us all about Clara Peller.
So, Clara was a manicurist for about 30 to 35 years, and she was on the set of a ad agency, and they were listening to her, and they admired her voice, and they had casted her for a Wendy's commercial. And this one little phrase of "Where's the beef?" kind of took off, and it became a shall we say a popular slogan in
like a fad
in the American culture, to the point where it took off, and there was a doll, there was T-shirts, there was a movie, It was in a record album.
She was even on Saturday Night
She was on
Live.
Saturday Night Live, exactly. And she became this household world. She was about 80 years old, and she was, she was everywhere. And she was as famous as anyone could be. And unfortunately, I think she kind of shot herself in her foot because she took on a spokesperson for Prego spaghetti sauce. And as a spokesperson for Prego, she went in front of the camera and she said, "I found it." And the folks at Wendy's did not really appreciate that, and they let her go. But she passed away in 1987, and we still have a number of people who come to our office, and they say, "I am looking for
Clara Peller. Where's the beef lady?"
Exactly. I'm looking for a woman who said, "Where's the beef?" in the 1980s a Wendy's commercial.
Very nice. Clara Peller. Thanks, Dave. Let's go see something else, okay?
Okay.
Now standing by the grave of Rabbi Joseph Deacher, the former rabbi of Anshe Shalom in Lakeview and beloved rabbi to the Chicago area. Do you recognize this face? You will in a moment. This is the resting place of Chicago Eddie Schwarz, whom I was on his radio show a number of times over the years on WGN, and also visited him in the hospital while he was in the midst of being very ill with kidney failure. Lived next door to a friend of mine as well, and seen him often and got to know him well. Eddie Schwarz, well-known distinguished radio broadcaster and newspaper columnist, buried here at Walheim Cemetery, passed away in February of 2009. If you would please do us the honors and tell us a little bit more about Eddie Schwarz today, Dave.
Thanks, Rabbi Doug. You know, I moved to Chicago in 1985, if my accent didn't New York. And at that point, it was a big thing. Was a Christmas a food drive.
A holiday food drive in Chicago.
That's correct. And at that point, I believe he was raising about $200,000 during the holidays for the homeless people.
Yeah, I think it was really famous. He would stay up for 24 hours on location in Chicago, and he himself would greet all these people that brought the food and shake their hands and so on. It was a very well-known thing. And
it was in the middle of I think it was right by of a daily center, I think. He is a perfect example of how to be successful just by being a mensch. He worked hard, and just by working hard and being truly committed to solving a listener's problems on his show, he developed an incredible, a loyal following.
He worked for a number of radio stations. He was with WMAQ, WLS, WGN, WIND. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Over the years.
And a listeners would call in, and he would listen to the problems, and he would even call up a alderman in the middle of the radio show and address the problems on the middle of the show and try to help the caller.
You know, he was a native Chicagoan and went to Columbia College in Chicago. In his class were Pat Sajak of game show fame,
Of a Wheel of Fortune.
Bob Surratt, news and radio, and Bruce Dumont, who is the chairman of the broadcast museum, and just a number of famous people that he just went to school with and went into broadcasting with.
Eddie Schwarz was also a paramedic as well. And I mean, just an incredibly hardworking and a true mensch.
Yeah.
And he became the #1 overnight show on the WGN. People would call in from around Chicago, as well as a number of stars and people from Hollywood and TV and a music stars. And because he had an incredible a loyal following, it was close to 400,000 listeners in the Chicago area at night, which is a huge number. Because people do not typically listen to the radio at the night. It is people are listening at in their cars on the way to work and on the way home. And he and
unbelievable following, and he and rival Steve Dahl became friends when he eventually went to WLUP after being sick and coming back on the air, and unfortunately got sick again. But just an incredible person. Chicago Eddie Schwarz here at rest in Waldheim Cemetery. Here we are at another one of the tallest monuments in Waldheim Cemetery, the Morton family monument. And looking below here, gangster and famous mobster, who was also an honored military hero, Samuel Morton, died in 1923. Dave, tell us a little bit about Samuel.
Thanks, Rabbi Doug. Well, as you said, he was a famous war hero, and he was riding his horse in Lincoln Park when he was thrown off the horse and then trampled to a death. And unfortunately, the people in the gang didn't take too kindly to it, and they took the horse out of the stables, brought it to the point where their friend was trampled to death, and they point blank shot it in the head, and
horse died in the same place.
Horse died in the same exact place, and then brought the owner of the horse over and said, "Here's your horse back, and here you go." End of the story. Yeah.
Wow. And there's a movie made about Samuel. What movie was that?
It's Public Enemy.
Public Enemy, all about Samuel Morton, the famous movie Public Enemy.
Samuel Nails Morton.
Samuel Nails Morton,
as they called him.
All right, we're going to move on to someone else. Thanks, Dave. Couple of deer here in the cemetery with us. Broad daylight. We are looking now at Elizabeth Taylor's in-laws, and that's Hyman and Sophie Goldbogen, and they are the parents of Michael Todd, also known as Avram Hirsch Goldbogen, and we are right here at his resting place. He died on March 22nd, 1958.
With a plane crash.
Oh, in a plane crash, right, in a plane crash. So you tell me this, this was Elizabeth's first husband, and she converted to become Jewish to marry him, right?
From what I believe. Yeah.
Very interesting.
And this section of the cemetery is not managed by our company. It is taken care of by the Silverman and Weiss company. They are in control of about 15% of the cemetery.
15%, and so 85% is under Waldheim cemeteries.
Correct.
Very interesting. And here we are, the resting place of Michael Todd. Stay with us.
Thanks for being with us today at this visit to Waldheim. I want to thank Irwin Lamping. I want to thank Dave Penzell. It's really been a wonderful day, and sitting and talking with you was great. I hope that we can do this again and touch on more subjects, because this is what historical Chicago is the remnants of historical Chicago is right here at Waldheim. I want to thank all of you for being with us. Remember, you can check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, where you can also see shows that have already aired on the web. And remember, if you want to email us, email Irwin or David, info@tvrabbi.com. I will forward that email to them. They will email you back. I know them, and I know they will. And I just want to thank all of you for being with us. Thank you again, Irwin. It's really a pleasure. You're a real mensch and such a wonderful person to be with.
You are a great friend of Walheim Cemetery.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure. And thank you, and hope to see you next time right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Bereshis Noach Vayera Chayes Haratoldos Vayitze Vayishlach Vayeshem Viketz Vayigash Vayechi Shemos Vayirabo B'Shalach Yisrael Mishpatim Teruma Tetzava Kisiza Vayakab B'Gudei Vayikratzav Shemini Tazriya Mitzorach Haremos Kedoshim Amor Behar Bechukos Hayayay Bamidbar Naso V'Haloscha Shlach Korach Chugaz Bola Pinchas Matos Mazei Devarim V'Eschananei Gavrei Shovtim Kisei Kisavonim Savim V'Yachazin Ezos HaBracha. These are the 5 Chumashim, the 5 Sefarim. Bereshit Shemos Vayikra Bamidbar Devarim.
And I'm talking about Rabbi Doug. Talking about Rabbi Doug. Talking about Rabbi Doug on your TV show. Well, he's the rabbi for me. Anytime you need. You're gonna get married or you're gonna die. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug on the TV tonight.
This has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.